In this lesson, I'll introduce you to Amazon API Gateway. API Gateway provides you a set of features and capabilities for managing versions and stages of an API. It further provides managed auto-scaling and monitoring, as well as support for access authorization. API Gateway provides a mechanism for caching and some protection against DDoS attacks via CloudFront. Amazon API Gateway supports Swagger, a declarative markup language useful for describing and versioning API configurations. API Gateway supports both request and response data integration. To get started, let's examine the process of creating an API through the API Gateway console. On the left side of the screen, under the Resources section, you will see the structure of your API, which includes the root, the resources, and the method verbs for your API. On the right side of the screen, you will see the lifecycle of an API call, which includes the method request, the integration request, the backend response, the integration response, and the method response back to the client. Amazon API Gateway provides a RESTful API front-end to your backend, which can be a collection of Lambda functions or an EC2 endpoint. All API requests through your gateway are monitored, logged, and visible via Amazon CloudWatch, including latency, number of requests, and error counts. Within the method request, API Gateway examines parameters and authorization of the request. An integration request defines how the request is passed to your backend. The integration request can perform data transformations, providing a level of integration between your method request and your backend API. The integration response defines how to handle backend error codes and data transformations back to your client, such as data filtering or XML to JSON conversion. The method request shapes the response to the client, including multiple response types, delivery of status codes, and content types. An alternative way of looking at method configuration is the left side of the panel describes your API interaction with the client, and the right side, the integration, describes how your method interacts with your backend. In summary, requests are typed in the sense that they define the structure and characteristics of the items they represent. The methods section describes the HTTP verbs such as get, post, etc. API Gateway allows you to snapshot your API configurations such that you can clone it and version it across multiple stages such as development, test, and production. This capability allows you to support multiple versions of APIs and affords the capability to roll back when necessary. To configure an API, you first create a root, then define resources, and finally define methods for each resource. In this example, I'll walk you through the process of creating an Amazon API from the API Gateway service. First, click the Create API button. In this example, I'll select Example API. Then scroll to the bottom of the list and click Import. With this example API, I'm going to use a Swagger file to import it, which will create all the resources and methods for this API. You can also export any API that you create as a Swagger template so that you can clone it and even share it with others. Next, I will deploy this API by clicking on the Deploy API option under the API Actions list. In the Deploy API dialog box, you can select the deployment stage from any stage that you may have created. In this example, I haven't created any deployment stages, so I'll click on New Stage and provide a name for my stage under the Stage Name field. In this example, I'll name this stage Dev. You can provide an optional stage description and deployment description. If everything looks good, click Deploy. Upon successful stage creation, the stage editor will display additional configuration options for this stage. In the blue box at the top of the stage editor, the invoke URL will display. Notice that the stage name is appended to the root level URL for this API. Under the Settings tab, you can configure API caching, CloudWatch settings, throttling, and client certificate. You can also define optional stage variables in the tab labeled Stage Variables. Under the SDK Generation tab, you can provide settings for Android, iOS, and JavaScript. Under the Exports tab, you can export your API as Swagger, Swagger plus API Gateway extensions, or Swagger plus Postman extensions. Under the Deployment Histories tab, you can select any deployment for this stage that you want to roll back to. To roll back to a prior deployment, select it from the list and click the Change Deployment button in the lower right-hand side of the screen. Use the Models link to create a model to transform the output of an API Gateway call from one data schema to another. In this example, I'll just click Cancel. Clicking on the Dashboards link will display metrics for your stage, including API calls, latency, 400 error codes, and 500 error codes. Under the API Keys link, you can create keys for your API. Use the Custom Domain Names link to create custom domains for your API. Lastly, under Settings, you can define an IAM role to provide your API access to CloudWatch logs.